Hey everybody, let's see, getting started. I'll give you guys a minute or two to pop in. And if you're watching the recording at a time that's better for you, it's a good time to get something to drink. Maybe have a pen and paper. I don't usually say that, but this is going to be one that this is going to be a session that you might want to jot some notes down during. So we will get started in just a minute or two, pen and paper, or you can have your device maybe in front of you. I'll be talking about, I got to get myself correct. Yeah, each one of these. It would be like a TikTok video. I should have learned from Steph how to do this better. Assess, choose, track. We'll get there. Good morning. Good to see you. I was just saying as we're getting started, great. This is actually one that would be great to have a pen, paper, to jot down. I'm a brainstorm note taker, so I do it like that. But if you're somebody who wants to type for the computer, that also works. It's just a really good time to, I think I'm going to ask you some key questions. And it's also good sometimes when we take a break from our normal routine and focus in on our business, which I hope that we will talk about why that's so important to do today, to also just write down actually what comes to mind first, because so often we start thinking about things and we change what our initial thought was, right? It's one of the reasons I really struggle with multiple choice tests. They always say, Ashley, just go with what your first answer was. And we overthink things or we change how we're thinking them. There's always a lot of truth in that first response. So I want to make sure that we are checking that one. Okay. So what we're going to do, and if you're just joining, first of all, I'm registered dietitian Ashley Koff, CEO and founder of the Better Nutrition Program. And this is halftime. This is June. This is the craziest year ever. And it promises to still be the craziest year. I'm kind of hopeful 2020 is just the craziest year. I don't even know what 2021 could be. But because of that, but we still have halftime in our businesses, right? So whatever happened the first half of this year, we want to learn from. We want to assess, right? We want to make sure we're understanding some of those pieces. But we also want to plan for, as we learned last week, we can plan backwards. I don't know if any of you are doing the workshop, but I'm really excited to do the workshop tomorrow, the Plan Backwards workshop. And what we can do in that space is really be thinking about where do we want to be in December? What's that headline, right? Where do we want to be? Most importantly, we should be taking time like today. And if you get interrupted today or today right now isn't that time and you want to actually do this at a later time, just make sure you take the time, especially in this month, to do what we're about to talk, what we're talking about, which is to take action, ACT, action on behalf of your business. Because too often we are in our businesses getting stuff done, right? Writing the emails, working on the content calendar. Maybe we pause to take a free course or a course that we purchased, or all these other things. We're thinking about it, but we're not actually working on our businesses. We're not actually, as many of you heard Leslie say in our virtual business school, and it's so unbelievably important. So for a moment, I want us to just pause. You can do some breathing, you can do whatever it is, just get yourself centered. And what we're going to do right now is just really focus on your particular business. But before we focus on your business, I want to teach you a little something. I want to teach you, and I'm going to use an example. I'm not going to tell it to you, I'm going to show it to you. So I want you to think about a client. It could be a recent client, it could be a client you had several years ago, it could be a client you're hoping to have, somebody that you know and you just wish that they would be your client. And I want you to think about why they don't have the health goals that they want. Whether it's they think that they want to lose weight, whether it's they're in a lot of pain, whether they would love to be pregnant and they're battling with infertility, whether they are dealing with skin issues, digestive issues. Think about that person. Maybe you even want to tell me in the comments who that person is, a little bit of what's going on for them. But why aren't they, said differently, why haven't they yet achieved their results, right? What has been keeping them? Well, there are a lot of things that could have been keeping them from their results, right? There are things that could be keeping them from their results, like maybe they don't have the information that they need. Maybe they haven't worked with anyone who is going to assess where they currently are, so it really isn't personalized. They've been trying a bunch of different things. Maybe they don't have a plan. Or said differently, maybe they have a plan and it's super rigid. So all these things don't fit in there. And so anytime that life gets a little uncomfortable because something doesn't work with their plan, they fall off their plan. Or the plan, they see, gosh, I'm a failure, right? So maybe they're not working because of that. Anybody have a client like this or somebody they think could benefit from working with them? Or someone that they are thinking of that you can help me understand why it is they haven't reached their goals. What's keeping our clients from reaching their goals? Give me a thought here. This needs to be interactive today, so I hope you brought your interactive game. So tell me, don't be shy. Tell me in the comments what you think. Why are people not reaching their goals? Too much information, too little information, not the right information. Maybe they don't actually know where they are today, where their body actually is today. Are people frustrated? Are people maybe trying all these free things online, setting up calls, but they're not actually converting those calls into working with someone, so they're not taking that first step or that important step? Why do we think they're doing that or they're not doing those? And if nobody wants to answer, I'll just keep going along. But come on, team, I'm here for you, right? I am here dedicated to helping you grow your business. And I promise this answer is going to be so important. As you think about those clients, they have a plan, but it won't get them where they need to lose the weight. Why is that? Why is their plan not getting them where they need to lose the weight? They don't want to give up certain foods. I can appreciate that. I don't want to give up certain foods. So what else? Why aren't they going to they're not following through on their commitments? Great. And why aren't they following through on their commitments? Life might happen. Like I might have had commitments and then COVID happened, or I might have had commitments and someone, lost my job, or there are other pieces, or maybe the commitments don't feel doable, or maybe my life changed and things aren't feeling good in here, right? They may be giving a lot of information. You may be giving them a lot of information, but they don't follow up with you. Yeah, they are not following up with you. They feel like they don't have the time. Okay? These are some good ones. So they may have a plan. They need a better strategy. You could probably offer them a better strategy, right? What makes a better strategy? I might offer what makes a better strategy is you assess and you know exactly like where that person is today. And then you work on that strategy, but what really makes a better strategy? I will give you a hint. It's just like the human body. A better strategy is not a static strategy. The human body is dynamic. Strategies need to be dynamic. Why? Because things are changing. So a better strategy is one that has all of these checkpoints built in, right? You have your client doing something for a bit of time, and then we're tracking along, seeing how it's going. Hint, hint. Tracking along, seeing how it's going, and then we shift the strategy because we suddenly realize like something has changed. Maybe something's gotten better. It needs to be personalized and it needs to be dynamic, right? And it needs to be checked in on, because if we have a strategy, we don't come back to it. And as somebody said before, they're giving out a lot of information, but that person isn't following up with me. Why aren't they following up with you? Have you engaged them? Have you re-engaged them? Have you reached out to see if there's something that they want or need? It's not going to work. But if you reach out to show them something, if you reach out to ask them to take a quiz, if you reach out to say, hey, we went through a lot of stuff there. I could see how that would be super overwhelming. I'm just curious about this one thing. How's this doing for you? Right? If I feel like, oh my gosh, I gave them a ton of information. But if they aren't following up with me, we got to think about it. Remember, it's about them, right? It's not about what they're not doing with us on that part. They need small, actionable steps. I might argue they need big, massive resulting steps, right? So if something feels too small and they take an action, but if they have a small step that's a massive leap, oh yeah. Like if I have not been pooping regularly in the morning and I take a step like magnesium at night or changing my exercise and I'm pooping in the morning, small step, big changes, right? All right, you guys are awesome. So tweaking when needed, definitely staying in touch. Yes, you guys, I'm a believer. You can never leave your clients alone. I know that sounds super stocky and awkward and not anything we were ever taught in any version of medical or nutrition school, but it is so essentially critical because when you leave them alone, they forget about you and they go into their head and back to their space of all the things that they did when they didn't have you. Right? When you are working with them, and I actually think coaches, especially health coaches, do a much better job of this than a lot of the rest of practitioners because we were not taught that at all. And in coaching, you actually are taught that piece, right? So it's really, really important. Okay, why did I ask you these questions? Because I am going to tell you that your business is exactly like these clients. When you start to look at what's not working in your business, or said differently, why you might not follow up, or why you might not be getting results, or you might not be willing to give up certain foods, or you might not feel like you have the time, or you might not have small actionable steps but that are a big leap forward, or you might not have a strategy that's actually dynamic, we've got to change that. Right? We have to make those changes. So what I want you to do when you think about your business, I want you to think about your business like that client. What you need a client to invest in and how you need them to invest, and the fact that you never want to leave them alone, we need to do the same thing. Why do I do office hours every Tuesday? And for our Shop with Tool owners, you have unlimited access to me. I'm recording videos and chatting with people, and we're sending emails, and we're always connecting with you because we never are going to leave you alone to work on your business because I'm not going to hope that you're going to get it and make it better. I am going to consistently show you how to make it better. I don't just show up on Tuesdays. I am in our group answering questions. I am sharing thoughts that have popped up based on experiences. I am reading the news and saying to you, you should be doing these other pieces. I am answering and giving you hopefully small actionable steps. And by the way, I sometimes, especially in my first training session with our Shop of Tool owners, I may give you way too much information. All of you, any of you that's in an experience, you can give me a heart or a thumb. It comes from love. Maybe I give you way too much to think about. So then hopefully I pulled back and have been like, hey, what's one thing? Or can you follow up with me with one or two things, right? So what we need to do is we need to start thinking about our businesses like those clients that aren't getting results. Because unless your business is doing everything that you want it to do, and you also have a silver ball, not a silver ball. What's the thing? A crystal ball. I couldn't think of the word. A crystal ball. And you know that it's going to keep getting you exactly what you want for the next 5, 10, 15 years. You cannot stop focusing on it, right? But you do have to have a dynamic strategy. And the ACT business strategy, this is a strategy I've been using. I have had the privilege of consulting for some of the most successful practitioners that are out there. Oh my gosh, like what they are doing, who they are working with, how much money they made. And you know what? Behind the scenes, hot messes. Trying to figure this out. So whether you are day 1 in your business or you are year 20 in your business and working on this, I can tell you that this ACT method is so important. It's also why I started off bringing in Stephanie last week, not just because I'm so excited about the workshop tomorrow, but because in unplannable times, it can feel really hard to act, to be proactive, right? What does that word mean? It means that we have to be excited about, we have to take action, we have to be pros at acting, right? We're being proactive in our business way more than we want to be reactive. And it means we've got to get out of being in our businesses and we've got to work on our businesses and have that time set up. So I do not recommend that you do this once a year at halftime. I don't see any businesses that are successful doing this once a year, but you better do it at halftime. And then you might want to think about it like a digestive tune-up, right? Because unless you have a healthy foundation to your business on a quarterly basis, which is when I recommend doing the digestive tune-up, you're not going to be able to get all these other results, right? So what is the ACT model? Should not be a surprise to any of you that it starts with A, not just because I'm Ashley or the alphabet starts with A, but it starts with assessment. If you do not know where your business is today, and some of you, you guys have failed my assessment test like flat out, right? Like, I'm just like, take the paper back and let's start all over, right? You've told me what you want to have, or you've told me you have no idea, or you've said, even if you're just starting out, I've asked you, like, what are your expenses? What have you spent on your business? I loved it. I had one of you that got on the phone with me and right away and said, you know what, right now, I want to pay for daycare. Daycare is $347 a month. I'm making it up. I have no idea. And I want to know that I'm paying for that. Okay. So what I want to know now is I'm not going to set a business plan around you making $347 in a month, because is that profitable? No, because there's some expenses associated with running a business. So if you want to make $347, we're going to have to figure out how much so if you want to actually have that money be what you make, we're going to have to figure out how much else you need to make in order to make sure we take that home, right? So one of the things, and jot this down on your paper or type this, if you do not have a clear expense sheet and have total clarity on what you are spending on your business, you have to do that right now. And I want you to have two different categories. I want you to have a category around expenses and a category around investments. Now, the only way something gets to be in the investment column is if it clearly will deliver you, not maybe, but clearly will or already has delivered you money, if it's already made you money. So if you have already gotten used a lead magnet, that maybe you purchase a lead magnet and you have already gotten or taken a course, and you can trace exactly from that course or lead magnet that you have made dollars from that. Oh, a client called, right? I had a conversation with someone, and she said, oh, she had just bought the shop of tools, and she had clients a discovery call the next day. And we went through and we talked about how she could handle that discovery call. So after that discovery call, she reached back out to me and she told me that she made money, right? This is what I got from that person. Okay. So then you can turn around. Now, it didn't pay for the whole shop of tools, but you can turn around and say, oh, maybe the shop of tools goes in my investment category, because they're on that part, when in the investment category, because I'm starting to make some money off of that piece, right? So you want to make sure that you differentiate between expenses, which might be the $50 that you pay to MailChimp, or expenses might be the money that you pay for, whatever it is on that part, right? You want to look at those pieces, but then you also want to look on the investment side and see what you're putting into that investment category. That's going to be really important for you to look at in the future. The other thing that you have to do during this assessment phase, and I can't do this for you, I can review it, I can go over it with you, and we can look at how we want to change things, and we'll get into that in a moment, but I can't do it for you. So the second thing you want to look at is, how are you investing you? That I need to understand. Where are you? I just did this for my own business. What are you currently doing? And I listed it out. Like, I am checking up on if the emails have gone out. I am participating in discussions about our social media. I am doing calls with discovery calls with potential purchasers. I am doing training sessions. I am doing live sessions. I am doing, and then you go through there and you say, okay, what do I want to be doing? What do I have to be doing? Because some of it has to be me. What am I doing that I should not be doing? And what am I doing that I really don't want to be doing? You want to look at that part, and you also want to put a price tag on your time. So let's say that you see a patient for an hour and you charge $275. If you're charging less than that, let's have a conversation, because I'd like you to bump your prices up probably, but let's say it's $250. We'll make the math pretty easy. So if that's an hour of your time, when you start to look at all the ways you're investing you, I want you on your business spreadsheet to be including that. So when you do this assessment about your expenses, I want to know how you're spending you, because we got to look at that, because over time, your business is going to lose in profitability, even if you're generating revenue, even if you're quote unquote in the black. But if you're in the black, but there's so much time of your time that has to be invested in there, it's going to put you in the red at some point. Physically in the red, keeping you from, it's an opportunity cost. It's going to keep you from doing other things. So you got it. So we've got to assess where our businesses are right now. Now, this is where we start to get a little uncomfortable too. We've got to assess what we spend our money on. Did we spend our money on courses? What did those courses generate for us? Did we spend our money on courses, write out the things we should be doing, and what have we done and what have we not done? How many hours did we participate in the course? So our time. What did we pay for, etc. How much time am I spending on social media? Is social media an expense or an investment right now? Now, everybody here is going to say, well, it falls under marketing. Does it? If it has not generated you any clients yet, if it hasn't don't want to say clients, if it hasn't generated you any income yet, it is not marketing. It's been hobby making, right? It's something that you're doing and you're hoping it will have outcomes, but it hasn't had those outcomes yet. So what you want to make sure is that the majority of your expenses actually go into the investment category over time. But what we need to start looking in there, and we got to get granular. We got to look at the differences between what happens when I do Twitter, what happens when I do Facebook, what happens when I do TikTok, what happens when I do Pinterest, what's the difference between when I do my Facebook posts and my Facebook lives. We really need to know these things. Are we using, Google My Business, or, are we health profs or anything else like that? Are we paying money for them? Have they generated business there, right? Because if those things are not generating you business, you don't have the right marketing plan. I'm just going to be really blunt. And if you need help creating that marketing plan, there may be an investment that's in there. It's of course what we do with our shop of tool owners over the year. We're like, okay, let's keep moving you forward, right? I want to keep looking. I want the ACT on that part. I really wish it was over here because it would be easier for me on that part. But anyway, you get the point. I'm just struggling to have it be my finger to point in the right direction to these. Okay, so we've got to do that assessment. From that assessment, just the same way you would use an assessment with a client. So if I've now looked at social media has been such an expense for me and it's an unsmiley face. Team, I just want to share this with you. If social media is not revenue generating for you in some capacity, either don't do it or figure out how to do it better. And I don't mean that you have to figure it out. It may mean you need someone to help you figure it out. And my bias is do not take a course on how to do Pinterest and Instagram and Facebook and all of that. Don't take a course. You know why? A course, no one in that course is going to look at your particular business and show you what to do and track it and do all of those things. No, you may actually need to work one-on-one with someone. You guys, it's just like a client. If a client has taken a program and they're not getting the results, what is the process? Stop taking the programs. You actually are not saving money. I don't care if it's $199 there and it's $499 to work on the business, to get the personalized help. Get the personalized help so that you can move your business forward. So of that $499, you can revenue generate off of it instead of just taking a $199 loss, right? And many of us are taking several $199 losses in that space. How much time are you spending on Canva? Everybody's like, oh, it's the best. Like I love, in the Facebook groups, Canva's great because it's free. Really? Is it free? How much time have you spent on Canva? You know what I said to my team? My win is if I never have to go on Canva, because I can't make enough money to make my time on Canva be worth it. It's killing our profitability. If I talk to you all here, maybe someday somewhere somebody's going to buy something. I know more, not even just maybe someday here. Many of you have purchased, right? If I'm doing this, I'm doing my mission, which is to help healthcare practitioners succeed in their business so more people get healthy in the country. I'm helping our business because I'm showing people how to use the better nutrition tools and how to scale their businesses, both in better outcomes and also in the growth of their businesses, right? They're one and the same. If I am on Canva, none of that stuff is happening, right? And I also lose my mind. Even, you know what? I developed this ACT thing on Canva. Was that a good use of my time? Absolutely not. Should one of the people that work for us do it? Absolutely. Is that what's going to happen next time? You bet, right? It looks pretty. It definitely looks pretty. I'm pleased with the colors. I wish it was over here. Oh, I just did that right. I wish it's great over here. Now I know how to do that. Okay. So you guys, you see me get my energy up on this part. You have got to stop spending money in the expense category. It's got to go down or you cannot get to profitability, right? Because we can't, no matter how many clients we're going to generate income off of, there are expenses of just managing those clients, including our time. In order to get to profitability, which really is a business winning, we've got to have this stuff structured better. All right, so we do the assessment just like we do the assessment with our clients. Now, what happens when we do the digestive evaluation with our clients? Who here has used the digestive evaluation at least once? Or since it's the free one, I'm also going to ask, has anyone used the rainbow evaluation? Let me know if you used it at least once, and then let's go into what we did with it. So pop on in here. I want to hear from you all. We're tracking. I'm trying to make sure I don't overwhelm you with information. We've gone from assess, so we're from the A, we're going into the C, and I want you to, it's very important that when we do an assessment, we don't turn around and see all the things that somebody needs and then tell them to do all of those things, right? Including giving up foods. Do you know why people don't want to give up foods? You have not given them deliciously doable options. It's your fault. I'm just going to be really blunt. If somebody doesn't want to give up certain foods, it's because you have not shown them how life is going to be great without those. Not life is going to be okay. Not, oh, you're going to be all right. How life is going to be great without those foods. So if somebody isn't willing to give up certain foods, you haven't done your job. Sorry, that's tough love. I'm just going to be blunt. If someone feels like they're a failure because they weren't able to give up certain foods, their practitioner didn't do their job. We have to be held accountable for that part. So if I told you right now to give up Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, I would not be doing my job. You got good. You've done both more than once, right? So I want you to remember that. I'm not sitting here telling you giving up social media. I'm telling you to get better help. I want to make social media deliciously doable for you. In fact, I have. That's why I created Better Nutrition Tools, because you know what? They make my life so much easier. Because instead of having people get likes and follows and me wondering about how these posts are going to work, when I have a post that says, hey, alligator skin, baby's butt. I wasn't allowed to do the baby's butt. Somebody let me do like pretty arms or whatever. My team maybe thought the baby's butt might be offensive, but let's be clear. That's what I would have put in there. And I had the little asterisks above it, potassium. And I said in the bottom, like, does your skin right now look more like a crocodile or like a baby's butt? Would you like it to look better? Are you drinking water to try to have better skin? Guess what? Your body needs potassium in order to bring that water into the cells so that you can have better skin. How do I know if I'm getting enough potassium? Have I got a way for you? I have an evaluation. So I am not telling you to give up Instagram. I am telling you to do it better. I am going to show you how it's going to be so much deliciously better. Just like if I'm telling you got to give up dairy. I'm actually not going to tell you got to give up dairy. I'm going to tell you we are going to replace dairy with so much deliciousness. You're going to be like, what was I even thinking about with dairy? If dairy was the thing you needed to give up. We have to do what we do for our clients with our businesses. So for those of you that have done evaluations, for those of you that haven't done evaluations, including using our rainbow evaluation, which is free, I don't know what you're waiting for, so I'll just lay that part out here. But if you've done the digestive evaluation, you've done the rainbow evaluation, it's very likely with clients that you've seen that there's more than one thing that they may need to be doing better on in your belief, right? From what you see from the evaluation. You've got to choose. We've got to, how did I do it right? Hold on. I did it like that. Yeah, you've got to help them choose. And you've got to choose. You've got to go in the back of your head or look at it on paper and you've got to say, you know what? If they're not eliminating any of the rest of the stuff, bloating, reflux, all of that stuff, like I got to get them eliminating, right? So what's going on here? Is it a motility issue? Is it a fiber issue? You know, what do we got? Is it that they're taking iron and calcium and things aren't? What do we got to do? But you've got to make choices. When it comes to your business, you've got to make choices. You cannot do it all. And I want to offer this differently. Trying to do it all is crushing your business. It's crushing it financially. It's crushing it in terms of opportunity. It's crushing it in terms of your energy. I was just emailing with one of you who said, you know, I struggle a bit with inertia. You bet. How many clients have you met that struggle with inertia? Oh my gosh, like probably a half, if not 3/4 of my clients at some point in time, because they feel like failures, or they feel like there's too much, or they've been presented with all this stuff that they could, should be doing, and it feels like too much. So we've got to make choices. You teach them how to identify their better nutrition choices in your business from assessment. Either my job working with us, through the Better Nutrition Program. And I'm so excited for those of you that are doing the bonus session. Oh my gosh, Jason and I have such a lineup for you. I'm super excited about that next week, 23rd. Yeah, that's next week, right? Okay. So I'm super excited, sidebar on that one, because I was working on our agenda this morning. But choices. We've got to make choices. And the way that we make choices is the same way we make choices with our clients. So y'all, this shouldn't be so difficult. Even if you've only ever had one client, or you are your first client, right? Or you've helped somebody and now, or you did it during your internship and now you're moving over to where you're going to help clients and get paid for it. When you help someone, you figure out what is going to be doable for them and what is going to give them has the potential to give them the biggest win. That's what we've got to do in our businesses right now. So for example, if when you did your assessment and you saw that you've got a lot of expenses going on and you saw that you don't have a lot of investments, you may want to identify, is there a way, one thing that I could move from the expense to the investment category? And the difference there, remember, is potential. No, it is the actuality of it actually that it is going to revenue generate for you, right? Maybe it's an hour session with me. Maybe you just want to go over this stuff, right? I highly recommend doing the shop of tools instead if you haven't, but you can always do an hour session with me. But maybe it's figuring out in that time period, or maybe it's reaching out and saying, hey, Ashley, it would be great if actually I heard you. I don't want to be on Canva either. I did this with a client the other day. She's emailed me 4 times about different things and I've given her feedback. I was like, oh, the images or the wording on your logo's too large on the post. It's distracting. The wording is too big on the post. It's distracting. Okay. So by the third one, she was like, well, do you think? And I was like, you know what I think? I think somebody should create 4 templates for you and you just go in and you always use those templates. Now you can't go rogue. I told my team this. We have templates. And when they go in rogue and they change the font on stuff or they do other things, I get legit fired up because I'm like, I paid for those templates. But maybe all you want to do is pay for those templates. Somebody who's going to look in and say, okay, here's what you can do with your business. This is the look, this is the feel. Let's do that and let's try those templates and let's have you add that information in there, right? That means you don't have to be on Canva for more than just adding that information in, or you could even have a VA that does that, right? So that could be one way that you look at that, something that you're going to assess and realize that you can improve. Now, maybe on the other side of things, on the income side of things, how you're investing you, maybe it's not better. Maybe you're spending a lot of you. And maybe what we need to do is figure out, you know what, people who are going to get me, who are going to get the whole Ashley, they're going to pay for it. But there's going to be a way for people to get the Ashley, like some of you haven't paid for the whole Ashley. So, okay, you're going to get part Ashley here. You're going to get information here, and you're getting this for free, or maybe you're getting it because you've paid for something, but you're not getting the whole Ashley, not answering your email after here, right? I'm not recording a video to show you exactly how to do it. I'm not going in and, all the things that we do for our shop of tools owners, but that's okay. If that's not you and you're getting a smaller part of that, you're going to still get something. And if you take action, assess, choose, and track, you can take action from something that is going to get less of me. Maybe you're not going to even, maybe if you weren't here, you weren't even getting this piece, but maybe you're just seeing my social media post and it's going to pop up and tell you something else on that part. Well, in that case, you don't get nothing from me, right? Nothing else from me. So we've got to start to figure out how we're investing ourselves. And for a lot of you, what that's been on my end is looking at your businesses and saying, how is that reflected in price and how is that reflected in offering? Because maybe someone right now only thinks that they can spend $40. And if they only think they can spend $40, there's something you can do for them. And that something you can do for them is going to get you additional, if you do it right, is going to get you additional investment in the future. And it may get you additional investment. I will tell you, I had a $40 once a week client for 11 years. Add that up, right? 40 times 50, I'm going to embarrass myself here. Is that 200 or 2,000? That's 2,000. So it's $2,000 roughly a year. 2,000 times 11. You starting to see where I'm going? Off of $40. Sliding scale. I worked with her every week. So my point is, don't start thinking you got to have a $1,500 package and have that be the end all be all of what you offer. Not right now, and not for the long-term growth of your business. And also, don't say, oh, it was so great. I learned about FullScript from Ashley and I signed up for a supplement store and I now tell people on my website or in emails that I have a supplement store. Great. Guess what they have? Amazon. Guess what they're used to using? Amazon. Guess how easy Amazon is for them? Super easy. It comes every day right to their door. Guess what else they do? Now go back into grocery stores. Why would they go onto your website, click onto FullScript, set up a free account, go in and figure something out that maybe you want them to get just because you said you offer it? That's not better. So as you're assessing your business, if one of the things that you're saying like, I got this full script store and I'm getting no revenue from it, from a revenue standpoint, maybe I actually need to show them what supplements they need and get them to purchase. And then they can repurchase, and then I can adjust things, and then I can jump back in and I can talk to them. So maybe that's going to be one of the things that I choose to work on. Is that why it's better not to post prices on a website? You know, I won't say better. There's pros and cons to posting prices on a website. But the issue with posting prices on a website is if you are actually teaching people to just think about you as it relates to a price, to make a decision based on price. You're hoping that they're going to evaluate the different things and they're going to hear all from behind the scenes, all the energy and exactly why you created these different things. And they're going to say, oh, this is a better price point for me on that part. That's probably not the right thing, right? Like that probably isn't going to be better. I'm not going to say definitively it's not better because I know some people put the prices on there. And if you are going to put the prices on there, you better be darn clear from a marketing standpoint about what is actually what you're getting in those different spaces and why, and help invite people in. I know with one of you, we worked on that a lot, with showing like laddering up to where you want someone, right? Smiley face. Of course, I can't tell who it is. I have a couple of ideas, but I can't see the name of the person, but I paid for the whole Ashley and it's worth it. Thanks. I wasted so much time over the last year. You can still personalize it all and make it for your business. She's always there as a resource and has multiple trainings and programs to help you. You don't have to go it alone. Oh my gosh, I love it. And I should say I wasted money too. By the way, been there with you. I have wasted, I'm not even going to say how much money, like just in the toilet bowl, wasted money on that part. Carrie, thank you so much. And I just feel like it's one of those things. And I want you guys to know I stopped seeing patients. I love working with patients. And now I send those patients to you in the practitioner network. And I stopped working with patients. So all this crazy energy that I have about helping patients do better, I apply now to practitioners. You guys have to win. I'm betting on you because I'm not out there helping people get healthier. I have to make sure you are out there helping people get healthier because we got to get this country healthier, right? Pause. Back to choosing. So we did assessment, then we did choosing. I would be a disaster on TikTok with this. We did choosing. So when we choose, we now have to track. And my friends, I was a tracking failure and I have reformed and I'm now tracking obsessed because of the outcomes and the improvements. So one of the things about wasting money and time is if you haven't been tracking it, you've been kidding yourself about it. So I used to just move on to the next because I would just be like, we'll see, like I'll go ahead and do something and I'm on to the next thing. And oh my gosh, I saw how now there's TikTok and I could, as soon as there were Instagram posts, then as soon as stories launch, I'm like, I'm just going to work on stories now. And I'm going to go over there and do, oh my gosh, all over like this, not tracking. When you don't track, you have no idea if something has worked and how it's worked and how you can scale it and have it work better. Or if it hasn't worked at all, you don't also understand that or know why it didn't work. So let's go back to why I started this the same way that we talked about clients, which is my expertise. I did that for 20 years. When you send clients off to do something, if you are not tracking with them, this is why you should never leave them alone. And don't start talking to me about, well, how much should I charge for tracking them? Oh, no, that's not what I'm talking about. I am talking about you want them to win. And every step of the way that you're helping them win is a financial opportunity so your business wins too. If you are not tracking that as you go along, you don't know if they are winning, if they are losing, if they are struggling, if they are actually even doing what you told them to do, and if not, why? If they weren't willing to give up certain foods, why? Because the initial recommendations that you gave them, they found disgusting. They bought the wrong thing. They didn't even do them. They sat there and talked to their friends and they went to the same restaurants and they just ordered things without, so their food tasted badly. Or they had a friend that was like, I tried that dairy-free thing. It didn't help me lose weight, so I don't know why you're doing it for your skin. You've got to know why, because when you find out why, when you are tracking and you find out objections, you find out things they liked, stuff that's working, you find out challenges, you find out like all of these different things. When you find those things out, you can then pinpoint each one of those things, right? You start to work it along. Guess what? It is the exact same thing in your business. We have got to act. We can't act. I spent all this time A and C. I never did the T. I wasn't tracking. Tracking makes all the difference. And by the way, if you're working with coaches, if you're investing in a program, if you are not tracking through that program, if you're doing a 6-month program, if you're doing a 4-week program, if you're doing anything on that part, and if somebody's, just like if I had a client in my program and they weren't tracking things as they were going along, not going to happen. I ask every week about what you did the week before, why, what worked, what didn't work. And then I even ask 2 weeks later, and we're going back on that part, right? And then I'm asking you to use your evaluations to track things. You've got to do the same thing in your business. You've got to be tracking it. You need to have markers on your calendar, on your phone. We have got to be tracking. You have got to know. So for example, a couple of weeks ago on our social media, we started a program of reaching out. We do not use a bot or anything else like that. We send little notes to people who we think might be interested. We go out there and we find them via different hashtags, reach out. We're liking posts. We're only liking posts that we would actually really like. We're commenting on them. Like we're, going through and doing all this. And then we send and we invite you here. And maybe you actually came here because of that. I'm excited to meet you, right? That is way better than me just sitting there doing Instagram and putting these hashtags on there. So I started doing that. Maybe you're even here. Maybe you even, when you came here, ended up getting the rainbow evaluation, and now you have a free tool and you can do all this act that I'm talking about today, right? Except for the me. You don't get the me other than this interaction unless you're going to pay for it. Yeah? Okay, so back to the tracking part. So we've been doing that. So what did I do with my team? On Thursdays, I want to know how many people came from Instagram into here. I want to know those numbers. We've had 2, we've had 6, we've had 11, we've had 22. Okay, you know what? I'm looking at the time that my teammates are spending doing that part with me. And of course, I'm responding to I'm answering. If anything comes up in there, I'm answering. I've chatted with a bunch of you guys, right? And I'm okay to do a little bit of chit chat on there, but I'm not going to do the initial outreach. That's not the better spend of my money, right? Of my time, of me. But we're reaching out on that part. We're bringing you in here so you can have this time with me, so that I can have this time with you and answer your questions. So I'm tracking that. If we went and we were doing all of that and nobody was coming in here, I wouldn't quit. But I would know after 30 days of X amount of hours that I'm spending with my client, I've got an expense. I don't have an investment. In here, I have an investment because I can have you get our emails. I can have you connect with me here. I am sure that several of you right here, are going to do this. If you haven't had a conversation with me specifically, where we can talk specifically about your business and what it would offer, what are you waiting for? I've just told you it's time to act. We want to assess your business. We want to choose what you should be doing, and we want to track it. And by the way, I'm not going to have you choose the shop of tools if it's not going to do something for your business. And then if you do choose the shop of tools, you better be tracking what you're doing, right? I ask you that. I can't make you do that. I'm not your accountability partner, but I am going to check in on you. I'm not going to leave you alone. I'm going to keep sending an email, or we're going to, check in on that part. But that's how we've got to run our businesses. We've got to do the tracking piece. Now, what's great about the tracking piece, and this is why I think I never tracked, because I love to do. And just sometimes when we're tracking, my big issue, true confessions of Ashley Koff, RD, the business owner here, is that I would also like to change things, right? So I would like to, maybe, I know you've been sending over this note, but maybe instead of sending them to the Facebook group, we should send them to the free rainbow evaluation, because I really want them to get that free rainbow evaluation and start seeing how great it is to use. My team is like, nope, you don't get to do anything for 30 days. And then you're going to have to make an argument. I literally have to argue with my team if I want to change it, right? So what I want you to think about is one of the reasons that this assess, choose, and track is so important, not just for your clients, but for you and your business is, if you're doing this, if you've got whiplash from what you did in the first 6 months of your business because you were trying to do all these different things to get results, not better. We got to put on that safety. We got to put on that safety neck brace, and we got to slow things down. And we've got to get intentional about our businesses, tracking information. And by tracking, by the way, I don't mean calling someone or asking a coach or participating in a live and asking, should you be doing what you're doing or should you be trying something else? If I answered you right here and told you what you should be doing and trying something else, I would be as bad as somebody who answers a nutrition question online or in a social media thing and tells somebody what they should be doing without assessing them first. Don't listen to those people. Please don't listen to those people. You will notice if you were in our virtual business school or if you're in here with me, anytime I'm answering a question, there are caveats and I'm always going to come back to, well, I need to know about your business. I had somebody send me an email today who said, I think about 25% of my leads, turn into discovery calls. I was like, great. So can you tell me, is that 4? And so as a result, it's 1. Do you have 500 leads and that's turning into I can't work with what's 25% of whatever. I got to know, right? And what that forced her, she was like, oh, actually, let me go back. Oh, I'm getting leads. Oh, I actually got some people I'm over. Had to do the assessment. So that's what we have to be thinking about when we're doing our assessment or when we start to think about our numbers. And by the way, the numbers, especially in digital marketing and lead generation and things like that, these are not winning numbers by any stretch of the means. I said to somebody the other day, we've got our open rate, went from 38% to 42%. Wow, that's a great open rate. I was like, are you kidding me? I want an 80% open rate, right? She's like, that's and we do a follow-up, we'll resend if somebody has it open. So it bumps our numbers up. But yeah, the statistics, they're 20% is considered a good open rate. 20% of 10 people on a list, 20% of 2,000 people, it's still just 20%, right? That sucks. That means 80% of the people on your list aren't getting your information. What does that mean that we need to be doing and focusing on? Maybe that's it. Maybe as part of your assessment, you realize you're writing rock star emails and only 20% of them are getting it. And maybe the same 20% are opening it. Now, if a different 20% are opening it on different weeks, that's also really interesting. Have you assessed that? What would you choose to do? When you make those changes, how would you track it? That's how we use the ACT, the action, right? I just terrified my dog, but that was kind of fun. That's how we take action. That's what this strategy is. And if you're not willing to do a strategy like this, I am just going to lay it out there to you. You are going to be frustrated and you are going to be hoping for business results, and you are very likely going to be spending money on expenses that don't turn into investments. It's just proof. When you look at successful businesses, there's intentional strategic work. We never signed up, most of us never signed up for that. But if you are running a business, you did sign up for that. As soon as you decided to make this a business and not make it a hobby or not work for somebody else on that part. Now, by the way, if you work for someone else, this is great stuff to connect with them on, to talk about how you want to know, hey, I just want to know how I'm contributing. You know why? And I did this for another one of our shop owners. I helped her renegotiate her contract within the group that she works with because we assessed, we chose a couple things, we tracked them, and she took those numbers right into the finance guy and was like, look at how much money I'm making you and how many patients I'm bringing back and what I could do if I was able to even open up this part. So here's what I'd like for this to look like. Yeah, renegotiate. You can renegotiate when you have data and information. Right? So that's another area of opportunity, especially if somebody's paying you or you're maybe in a collaboration or a partnership. Just because you signed a collaboration agreement, unless you sign something that says until the end of time, which we should talk about. But if you've signed any type of a collaboration agreement, you can renegotiate that all the time. And sometimes you can't renegotiate it, but sometimes you figure out, like one of your colleagues, that the investment that you made, okay, I'm renting this place, but it's 2.5 hours round trip from my house. I am losing so much money on my me time in that drive that even if I can't get something, they won't let me rent it out. Maybe I'll go there once or twice, a month or whatever. And then I'm going to make up by not going there and using those hours at a different location or at home or whatever. I just have to, that's on my P&L for the next couple of years. And I'm going to be so excited when it's not on there. But when I shift it, I'm not just losing time, right? Not losing you time and not losing money on that part. Okay, a lot of stuff in here. This is a power hour, I hope. So I'd love to open it up to some questions. Does anybody have anything that in the assess phase that you're wondering about or how to assess? Or is anybody tracking something and maybe have questions about tracking? Maybe I've just blown you away and you're like, I don't even think I have time to do this. In which case, let's chat because you can't afford to not do this. So talk to me. Any questions? You are also more than I can dismiss you, give you 10 minutes of your hour back. No problem on that part because maybe you need to sit down and assess, choose, and track. But I am here for you, which means that I'm investing the time. There you go. Power hour. Yeah, got it. You bet. I can also tell you, for any of you that are thinking about the Shop of Tools that don't own the Shop of Tools, maybe own some of our tools and haven't upgraded, it will no longer be available after July 1st. So right now, $1,350 or 3 payment plans of $500. We are closing July 1, store closes. We have such an amazing offerings, because we wouldn't just have one offering. We have amazing offerings that are going to be available starting July 15th. And they are starting at higher price points, and with additional offering of time with me and these sorts of things. So if you do not have your Shop of Tools and you want this with me and you want the tools and you want to get going and you want to take action, do it by midnight on June 30th. So that's that piece. Okay. When starting out, where do you begin to assess? That is such a great question because I wish that I had learned this before I was starting out or as I was just starting out. So I think one of the things, and you guys, it's going to sound so silly, is to actually have the stuff in place for assessment, right? So what you want to think about are, because even before you start your business, you've actually invested some expenses. Maybe you've paid for a website. Maybe you still have some school loans. Like that's important to note. But you want to have that spreadsheet. So you want to have a spreadsheet that has expenses, that has investment, that has you. How are you spending your time? And you want to make sure that you're having that piece. And then what you want to do is also calendar when you're going to do your assessments, right? So that piece is going to be really important too. And you want to also be tracking the things that you're spending on. So if you're spending time on social media, you want to look at not just how much time you're spending on social media, but maybe there are things in there like, wow, I had I did social media this month. I had, most of my posts got 5 likes. I honestly don't care about likes. So that's why I'm like 5 likes. But I had an interaction with 3 people, and I had 2 people that grabbed an evaluation from me. And in my opinion, I would have a separate spreadsheet that says anytime somebody gets an evaluation from you, like maybe they wanted the potassium evaluation and you want to write potassium evaluation requested because I was talking about their skin, right? And their skin looking like a crocodile. You're going to want to know that information in the future. So that's exactly how I would start out assessing. And I would start out in the habit of doing that assessment. Something I didn't talk about before that you can include in the assessment, I think is highly valuable, is also asking other people. Either, if you do work with someone, how was this experience? I'm always trying to get better. Look, 22 years in, I'm always asking you guys how we can get better. We're working on our annual update of the tools right now. We've gotten so much feedback. It's a great time if you have feedback on tools. That's always something. You guys wanted your logo on there. I've been trying to figure it out. We figured it out. Adobe Acrobat, right? We can do that part. We wanted to be able to have them virtually and in healthy and in practice better. We've got them and in simple practice, we've got them up there virtually. So I'm always asking. And so that's another part of the assessment on that piece. So you're not sure about tracking. That's a great one as well. So what you have to do with tracking is you need to look at, what did I choose to do? What's the thing? So choosing and tracking are so out of the assessment, I'm going to choose to do something. So maybe what I'm going to choose to do is I am going to choose to do once a week Facebook Lives. So the things that I'm going to track are, am I getting people that are attending? Maybe I notice I get more people that attend on Tuesday evenings, and I'm only going to do them on Tuesday evenings in the beginning. I'm going to do it at a set time. But, when I ask in there when people would really like them, it turns out they'd want it on, Wednesday midday or whatever. And that's how you can combine your assessment and your tracking on that part, right? Ongoing assessment. But so you would be tracking that piece. And then you will also want to track from that Facebook Live, what actions did I get people to do? I got them to comment in the comment section. Takes a lot. I had to ask quite often. I basically had to just be like, throw like as vulnerable as possible and be like, why am I sitting here just talking to you if you're not going to ask? And I'm here to give you 22 years of experience and, all of this other stuff. And and I'm investing my time in it. So please ask me a question in the comment section so you can track what kind of questions you got. Those questions are super valuable because if you're getting questions in there, you want to track that. You want to know because that's going to tell you what your audience wants to know about. That's going to inform your marketing. It's going to inform the product you develop. It's going to inform a lot of things on that part. So you want to track that piece. You also want to track maybe you got a client out of a Facebook Live, right? Maybe you got a colleague to actually promote your Facebook Live because you invited a colleague in and you actually got new people into your Facebook group. Any of those things. That's how we would do tracking. Hopefully that's helpful on that part. Would like some more info about tracking. So far have no clients, so it's easy to track. What should I start out tracking? Okay. So that's like the person that comes in and says, thanks, I've been doing weight loss with you, but I haven't lost a pound. What would you say to them? Are they a failure? What happens if a client hasn't lost a pound? How would we be tracking their progress? I can't be the only one practitioner who has worked with clients on whose goal was weight loss and they had a week where they didn't lose a pound. Somebody's going to tell me what happens when a client doesn't lose a pound. What do you talk to them about? And if you have our Better Scale guide, you already have this answer because I created that whole Better Scale guide because I was like, we have patients all the time that are just tracking the scale and it's not better. So what could we track? All right, there's a lot we could track. We could track their breathing. We could track their pooping. We could track the way that their clothes fit around their waist. We could track their skin. We could ask them about their mood. We could ask them if somebody commented, on their, there's so many things, right? That we would be tracking if they're working on their muscle, if they feel stronger, if they were able to do 4 push-ups instead of 2 push-ups. So many things that we could be tracking, right? And so other wins, exactly on that part. So when we're tracking, if you have no clients yet, sometimes that can be, when we articulate that can be like, yeah, I'm failing, right? Let's see where are you getting the wins, right? So like you may not have a client yet, but maybe you've had the opportunity to work with and help someone. Maybe they haven't paid you for it, but maybe you've done something like this and you've worked with and you've shared some information with them and they responded really positively and they found it helpful. Now you're not going to know if they actually found it helpful unless you've reached out to, and seen how they're doing on that part. So maybe part of your tracking is for the people that haven't hired you as a practitioner, totally fine to reach out to them and say, well, yes, what are the non-scale victories, right? So what are the non-client victories? What has happened on that part? So what are the things that you could be tracking in that space? You want to learn, like maybe instead of getting clients, you've been spending a lot of time getting Instagram likes, right? Or Facebook likes, or, that kind of thing. So maybe what you need to realize is I'm spending a lot of time there and it's not getting me clients. What I didn't think about is that I've got that moms group that meets virtually, and I should be spending my time popping in there and answering questions or sharing some of the stuff or inviting anyone if they want to work on, if a friend and if 2 friends want to work on something or families that are stuck at home, whatever it is on that part, right? But maybe what you're tracking is going to show you that either the way you're doing social media isn't working right now, the way you're doing lead generation in other places isn't. And so what we want to start tracking is what did you choose to do and how has it worked or not worked? And I think I would back up is not actually what should you start out tracking. You need to look at what choices you've made. So we may need to back up from there if you haven't had clients just yet and said, what choices have I actually made, right? So what did I choose to focus on? And I'm not going to judge yay or nay. Is it good or bad that I chose to focus there? I needed to track, to look at and see what happened over 30 days while I focused there. 30 days can feel like a really long time if you don't have clients. It can feel like a lifetime. You can nod or you can give me a thumbs up or just internally agree with me. So, but you do need to track. And so in those 30 days, if your choice had been to focus on social media, or if your choice had been to, put together a program and send it out to your email list or whatever it is, you want to track what you've done in that time, what you chose to do, how that's what's gone on there. What have you seen in that space? And that's going to help you understand what was a win, what maybe needs just more time and some nurturing, and maybe what wasn't a good choice for you at this point in your business. You might also realize you need more help. And that may mean, hey, I've got to make a smart choice about how I'm going to invest to get that help, right? That is that. Great, non-scale victories. Who else has questions? I'm here for another 1 minute and 22 seconds. And remember, if you're not a Shop of Tool owner, this is the only time that you get with me. So I'd use this time, right? Somebody wanted to know what I'm drinking. I have electrolytes in my water because I went for a nice long walk this morning and I had a coffee and I felt that I just wanted the electrolyte powder in my water. There wasn't really any reason to it, but I like the way that it tastes. So it's got me drinking more water. Anybody else? All right, everybody, it's 12. That is the end of my hour with you, my investment. I hope for you that you take an action this week, this month. If you have any struggles on that part, feel free to drop them in the comment section because I do spend time in here. But otherwise, if you want more help, you have options. You can get a session with me. You can get the Shop of Tools and you get unlimited sessions and time and all of that stuff. And you can choose to wait and not have it and have us close it down and then come back and spend $3,000-$4,000 and get an amazing year of awesomeness for what we're going to be doing starting July 15th. All right, everybody. That's that. You are so welcome. Carrie, again, thank you for making my day. Testimonials, feedback, it's what we live for. So really appreciate that. All right, everybody. Have a great one.